If China attacks Taiwan, the world's GDP would drop by 10% in an instant, and the damage would be $10 trillion. According to Bloomberg Economics, if China and Taiwan go to war, Taiwan's GDP would drop by more than 40%. China would also see its GDP drop by more than 16.7%. However, South Korea would suffer more than China. South Korea's GDP is expected to shrink by more than 23%. The United States is at 6.7% and Japan is at 13.5%. Why would South Korea suffer so much from a war between China and Taiwan? Let's find out. Real Korea knowledge. If China and Taiwan go to war, South Korea's GDP will shrink by more than 23%. That's even worse than China. It's because South Korea is highly dependent on China. According to the Export-Import Bank of Korea, South Korea's semiconductor raw materials are mainly imported from China. Rare earths are imported more than 50% from China, tungsten 73%, and 46.2% of germanium is imported from China. So if China goes to war with Taiwan, South Korea would have a hard time securing semiconductor raw materials. And by 2022, South Korea's export to China accounted for 22.8% of South Korea's total exports. The United States account for 16.1% and 4.5% to Japan. I mean, South Korea export the most to China, so if there is a war, South Korea's total trade export would drop significantly. If China and Taiwan go to war, South Korea's GDP could shrink 23% due to the presence of the United States Forces Korea in South Korea. According to the US think tank Center for Strategic and International Studies, if war between China and Taiwan were to begin, 2 of the USFK's fighter squadrons would be deployed against South Korea's wishes to participate in combat. And if China mobilized a large navy, the US military could use South Korea's Jeju naval base to defend Taiwan. So if the USFK were to involve in a war between China and Taiwan, China could retaliate with force against South Korea. This could lead to an armed conflict between the 3 countries. The worst thing that could happen to South Korea is that it could be sucked into a vortex of war. I hope China and Taiwan can get along peacefully without fighting each other. That's all for today's Korea knowledge. Thank you for watching. I'll be back with more fun stories of Korea. Thank you.